Well, hello, welcome back to my channel. I am what is called a multi-passionate person. And from the conversations I've had with y'all here on YouTube and on Instagram, I'm gonna place my bets that you probably are too. And when you hear the advice to niche down and niche down to be successful and pick a niche or pick a niche or like however you want to say it, you probably want to pull your hair out because you have 9,000 ideas and you don't know how to pick the right one. And then these people like myself and other people are telling you can't be successful without picking one, and you just sit there in indecision mode. Did I just describe you? I'm gonna bet I did, because I just described myself. I do this too. I've done this my entire business career. I have been confused and not known which way to go and not wanting to pick a niche and wanting to do 75 things. And so, as someone who's figured it out, as someone who's kind of figured out how you're both multi-passionate and you pick a niche, I wanted to share my secrets with you. I wanted to share how you can niche down when you have too many ideas and pick one and move forward. By the way, if you're new here, hi, howdy, hey, my name's Jessica Stansberry and I'm glad that you're here. Come follow me on Instagram too, okay? The first thing we really need to talk about is what I have dubbed the theory of half-dug holes. Let me explain. The theory of half-dug holes is something I just totally made up. But basically, it's an analogy, a metaphor, whatever, that I use to describe what happens when we're bouncing from idea to idea and never like actually settling on one idea, okay? So listen to this because this is going to help you understand why not niching down, why not picking an idea, why being multi-passionate is keeping you stuck and not hitting the goals that you probably want to hit. So let's say someone pops up in my yard, okay? They just like show up right here in front of my front porch and they're like, hey, Jessica, come with me, please. And I go outside and they have like put 3 shovels in 3 different places in my yard. So there's a shovel in one place, there's a shovel in another place, there's a shovel in another place, okay? So they put these 3 shovels in these places. And they tell me there is $1 million at the bottom of each one of these spots. There's $1 million at the bottom. But you only have 2 hours to get as much as you possibly can. So if it's not super clear, the $1 million at the bottom of each of these holes is the goal you're trying to hit as a business owner or content creator or whatever you're trying to do, okay? So my goal is to get as much of this money out of these 3 holes as I possibly can, but I only have 2 hours. Okay? As a multi-passionate person, if I go out there and I dig on one hole and I dig for like 20 minutes and I'm like, I'm not getting anywhere. So I drop that shovel and I move to the next hole and I dig for 20 minutes and I'm like, I'm not getting anywhere here either. And I drop that shovel and I move to the next hole and I dig for 20 minutes and I'm like, I'm not getting anywhere. And I'm like, so frustrated. And I put down that shovel and I move back to the first hole and I do that again. I am likely ending that 2 hours hitting 0 bottoms of holes, not getting to any of the money because I've spent 20 minutes here and 20 minutes there and 20 minutes here. That's an hour. And then I went back and did 20 minutes and 20 minutes and 20 minutes. Let's say that in theory, it takes 45 minutes to get to the bottom of each of these holes. Like if I dug consistently, it would take me 45 minutes. I don't know that, but then let's say that that's what the case is. So now I have spent my entire time, my entire 2 hours, which can be representative of like years in the business world, right? Digging on all of these ideas, digging on all of these holes to not really be successful in any of them. Whereas if I would have just dug and dug and dug my little heart out on that first hole until I hit that million and then moved over to the second hole, if it took 45 minutes to dig each of those holes, I would have uncovered the $1 million at the bottom of 2 holes in that 2-hour period and almost been to the bottom of the third one. So this is what being multi-passionate in the business world, in the content creator world, in the all the things world looks like. We'll do this for a little while and it doesn't quite get as successful as we wanted to, so we move over here and it doesn't quite have the results we think it should, and so we'll move over here and it doesn't quite do what we want it to do, and we bounce back and forth and nothing ever ends up being successful. But if we would have focused on that first thing, we could have been successful in that first thing and then used the money and the time and the freedom and whatever else we gained and we earned from that first endeavor to help us do the second thing. and help us do the third thing. You could be doing half-dug holes in one business, right? Like maybe you have one business and you're like, I know my business, I know what I'm doing, but I'm creating this thing and that thing and launching this and launching that and doing this and doing that, and you're never actually seeing success. Whereas if you focused on the one thing, you could see success there and then move on to those other things. Or obviously you can half dig holes in a bunch of different things. I feel like that was helpful. Was that helpful? Okay. So how do you fix it? You have too many ideas. You have way too many ideas and you don't know how to pick one because you love them all. You want to do them all. Everything seems amazing. Everything is awesome. Just listen up, Buttercup. First and foremost, I want you to pull out a piece of paper. Yes, a piece of paper. And I want you to write down a list of the things that you want to do. All the ideas you have. Write them down on a piece of paper. Then I want you to score them, all the ideas, on 2 different categories. First, I want you to go through your list and I want you can use like a highlighter or like a number system, however you want to do this. But I want you to rank these things from 1 to whatever. If you have 19 ideas, 1 to 19. If you have 8 ideas, 1 to 8. If you have 4 ideas, 1 to 4. Really sit with each of the ideas and rank them from 1 to 4, 1 being the best, 1 being the thing you would love the most, okay? 4 being the least. Really sit with the ideas and rank them in order of which ones you would enjoy doing the longest. Like look forward 5 years and think about like whether or not you would enjoy these things for the next 5 years or 2 years or whatever. Because when you focus on one idea, you're going to have to put the work in. There's going to be a lot of time involved. So if you have this idea, but you're like, it's kind of like, I think it'd be cool because nobody's doing it, or, I think it's fun, but you really sit in it and you're like, you know what? After like 6 months or after like 4 topics or 4 posts on this idea on Instagram, I would probably get bored. We're going to rank that one at the bottom of the list, okay? I'll give you a great example. So y'all know my husband's a farmer, right? And he is so good at what he does. He planted potatoes yesterday. He knows exactly when to plant things and harvest things and how to take care of them and all of this stuff, right? And I think in my head that it would be a spectacular idea for him to create a brand around how to with farming, like how to do the farm stuff, show the behind the scenes, sell courses, all of this stuff, right? But that's not really his top idea. And is not really the first thing that comes to mind when he's thinking about what to work on every day. At some points in my life, I have thought maybe I should just take that on. I'll just do that. I will create the brand behind it. I will do this. But guess what, y'all? You know who's not going out and documenting farm life when it's 20 degrees? This girl. You know who doesn't know how to plant potatoes and really doesn't enjoy farm work at all? This girl. So for me, in my head, I love the idea, but in application, in real life scenarios, I would hate that. I would hate that being my business. So when I'm looking at the ideas, I'm going to rank that one probably last. Then what I want you to do is take that same list of ideas, 1 through 8, 1 through 10, 1 through 14, whatever, right? Take that same list of ideas and rank them with 1 being best, easiest, timeliest, whatever, so on and so forth to the end. Rank them in order of which one can make you the most money quickest. If one of your ideas is to be a lifestyle blogger or to start a YouTube channel, and the other one of your ideas is to start a copywriting business where you provide a service of copywriting to people that you can charge a good amount of money for, is going to make you more money the quickest than being a lifestyle blogger or a YouTuber, because those things take a long time to build up. So if you're looking at this list, you want to rank these in, order of how easy they're going to be to start bringing you in money and how quick that's going to happen and how much money is involved there. So at this point, you've got this list ordered in 2 different ways. Things that you would love the most to things that you would love the least for the longest. And then on the other side, you have, what's going to make you the most money the quickest on down to what's going to make the least money or take you the longest time to get there. Now I want you to see if there's an overlap. Is there an overlap in those top 2 or 3 things where they overlap in you would enjoy them the longest and they're going to make you the most money the quickest? That's your thing. That's what you need to do. That's it. Now, a quick little caveat here. If you could give 2 shits less about how much money you make, or you don't care how long it's going to take you to make money, then just completely ignore that category. and do what you're going to love the most. So for most people, we're wanting to start a business or a side hustle or be a content creator or whatever, because eventually we want that to be our business. Eventually we want that to make us money. So that's why I include that column. But if you don't care and you're just doing it for shits and giggles, or you're just doing it now to have a plan for the future, then ignore that column and just pick the one that you're going to love the most. But what do you do with those other ideas? All the other ideas? Do you just forget about them? Do you just say, well, those were fun? No, I don't want you to forget about them. I really don't. I want you to get a notebook, an actual physical notebook. Go to Target, get you a pretty one. Make sure it's only used for this purpose, okay? And I want you to deem this notebook, not this notebook, idea notebook, okay? This is your idea notebook. And I want you to take all the other ideas that you've already had and write them down in this idea notebook. And not really just write them down as in like list them out, but give them each a page in the notebook where you can, if you think of an idea for that thing, you can go write it down at any point, and there's space and room for you to kind of flush through and think through ideas. So each idea gets its own page in your idea notebook, and you can write down all the ideas that kind of are encompassed under that idea. And then when you have other ideas, whether they're other ideas under the umbrella of the business that you're working towards, or they're completely separate and like way over here, like my farm idea, when this is my business. So whenever you have other ideas, come back to the idea notebook. Set yourself a timer of about 15 minutes and put it all down on one of those pages in the notebook. Idea at the top, all the ideas that are racing through your head, all the things about it that are racing through your head, your giant, brilliant idea that's going to be amazing, put it down. But set yourself a timer so that you're not distracting yourself and taking yourself away from the business you actually are working on that's hopefully making you money. This practice alone is going to be magical, because when you get these ideas out of your noggin and into somewhere where you know where this notebook is, you know that it is always on your desk, you know that it is on your bookshelf, you know that it is somewhere in your house, right? When you get those ideas out of your brain and put them in the notebook, it kind of releases your brain from having to think about it or having to remember it, because everything you thought about is there. And if you think about something else, if one of those ideas, go put it in the notebook. Don't let it occupy space in your head, because what needs to take up space in your head is the business idea you decided on in the first part of the video. And we're not going to just pump and dump. We're not going to pump out the ideas into the notebook and never come back to them. That is like a multi-passionate person's nightmare, right? Like, oh my gosh, I have all these ideas and I'm never going to be able to do them. I'm never going to be able to do these things because I decided on this one thing and that's what I have to do forever. And that is not the case. You are going to set yourself a goal, preferably an income goal, but it could be really any kind of goal, a time goal, a milestone goal, an achievement goal, but you're going to set yourself a goal in the business that you have picked, in the thing that is the thing you're going to enjoy the most, overlapping somewhere with what's going to make you the most money. In that business, you're going to set yourself a goal. When I make X amount of dollars per month, when I have X amount of clients per month, when I have been on 100 podcasts for this thing, like whatever the goal is, okay, set yourself a goal inside that business. And when you hit that goal, you are then allowed to pick up your idea notebook and pursue any of those things, because you have hit the gold. You've hit the $1 million at the bottom of the hole. So when you hit the $1 million at the bottom of the hole, you have those 5 clients a month. You have consistently put out, 18 podcasts a week, like whatever the scenario is. You are on a good path with that business, and you can use that money to fund this other thing. Or you can use that like time freedom that business has created for you to be able to do this other thing. So set yourself a goal and give yourself permission to go after one of these other ideas at a certain point. But you are not allowed to have permission to go after those ideas until then. This is legitimately what freed me from too many idea syndrome. Like legit, this is the system I used, because even when my business, like this iteration of my business, a podcast and YouTube and courses and all of the things that like I really wanted to do, even when this got going, I still had these like random ideas in my head that were like taking up space, and I would spend entire weekends or whole days mapping things out or planning for these businesses that weren't going to exist. So I made myself start setting a timer when I would have those ideas and putting them somewhere I could get back to, putting them in a notebook that I could go to and that I could pick up and know that they were there. And guess what happened when I hit the goals? One of my first goals was to, when I make $10,000 a month in my business, and at the time I was a web designer, so like in that business, when I make $10,000 a month in that business, I can just go over here and like pick up one of these other ideas and run with it. And one of my other ideas was a digital scrapbooking company. Y'all, I don't digital scrapbook. I did for like a minute. Who knows? But anyway, like that was the goal, was like, okay, when I make $10,000 a month, I'm going to go start this company that I was going to call Snap Click Create, because that's fun. That was like my reward for hitting that. Guess what happened? And guess what'll happen for you too? I had so much momentum in the business once I hit that $10,000 per month mark, as that was my goal. I had so much momentum and so much like vision and clarity around how this business, this idea was going to help me reach the goals that I have outside of business. So, this business, this idea was going to help me save enough money or get my income to a point where we could buy the land and build the house we're dreaming of, which we did. And I knew in that moment that if I distracted myself from that was, again, going to not be a priority for me, and that income was going to fall, and I was going to have to like rearrange things again. So for me, every single time I have ever set a goal and allowed myself to go back and visit one of the ideas, I actually haven't wanted to do it, but it's still there. I still have a permission slip to go pick up any of these ideas at any time, and do them. Now listen, I know that was a lot. I know it was. I really do. I know that was a lot, but I know how your brain works, because my brain works the same way, and I wanted to share that piece of knowledge with you. If you have made it this far in the video, and this is you are literally who I've talked about in this video, but you're ready to focus and move forward with one idea, I want you to comment below with no more half-dug holes. No more half-dug holes in the comments below. I'm going to take this as a promise from you that you are going to listen and heed my advice that I spent so much time talking to you about today. No more half-dug holes in the comments below. I would honestly say that once or twice a day, or anytime I do Q&As on Instagram or have questions on YouTube, they're on the regular. Someone is like, I don't know where to start because I have too many ideas. So hopefully this was super freaking helpful. And if you're not hanging out with me on Instagram, I would love to extend an invitation for you to do so. Come hang out with me on the gram. I am on stories, hashtag all the time. And that is really where we can have these conversations back and forth. Till next time. Bye, y'all.